All right, I just started recording. As you know, this meeting is recorded and will be uploaded to public internet. So whatever you say is going to be visible to public. For today, I have a couple of updates for you folks. There was an issue recently in the scheduler. This issue was initially discovered by our scalability team at Google. They realized that when there are many pods in a cluster and there are many unschedulable pods in the cluster, those with the same priority. Let's say that you have a relatively large cluster with a few hundred nodes or 1,000 nodes, and then there are a group of pods. Some of them are schedulable, some of them are not schedulable, but they are all waiting for the scheduler to try them. And once the scheduler actually puts all of these in the queue and starts trying those pods, the unschedulable pods keep going to the head of the queue despite having the same priority as the other pods. And as a result, block the head of the queue. So I was honestly a little bit surprised by this behavior because I felt like those pods with the same priority shouldn't necessarily go to the head of the queue. But later on, when we looked at the pop algorithm of heap, we realized the reason. So the pop algorithm of heap, like, you can read it in the textbooks as well, and it's the same implementation in Go libraries. It basically swaps the head of the queue with the tail, basically, with the last element of the queue, the tail, and starts basically remove the pod from the end of the queue, which used to be the head of the queue, and starts running heapify, which is essentially rearranged the heap based on the heap algorithm. But since all these pods have the same priority, the pod which is now in the head of the queue and used to be at the tail stays in the head. This is a problem, of course, because the pod which was at the bottom of the queue was a pod which was tried recently by the scheduler, and it was unschedulable. So it goes to the head of the queue, and the scheduler tries it again. And so if you have a number of these, chances are the scheduler will just keep trying these unschedulable pods, which are now occupying head and the tail of the queue. This is a problem that we have sent a PR to address. The way to address it is that the scheduler looks at the priority of the pods and orders them in the queue based on their priority. But if the priority is the same, then it looks at the last scheduled time. So pods which are unschedulable have this like timestamp. They had it already. Before this change, they've always had it. So we look at that timestamp and we order them if they have the same priority by the timestamp. If these are new pods that are never scheduled or a scheduler has never attempted to schedule them, then we look at their creation time and sort them based on their creation time. I think this also addresses a problem that Sudesh was trying to address. This is, of course, more than that problem only. Sudesh was trying to change the scheduling, the sorting algorithm of the scheduling queue to sort pods which have the same priority by their creation time. And I was a little bit concerned that a pod which is created early and is unschedulable can have this problem that we just talked about. It will always go to the head of the queue, and the scheduler may retry that pod again and again. But with this new change that we made, that concern goes away because we also look at the last schedule time, and then we sort them by last schedule time first if they are scheduled before. So a problem of blocking the head of the queue is not going to exist. Is there any question about that? Okay. So let me send a link to the chat window. We would like to plan the items for 114 Right now, we have a few items. Unfortunately, there are not that many people today in the meeting. We have a few items that I would like to discuss with the owners and assign to them and basically confirm that they can work on them in 114. I speak about them anyways. Hopefully, they will take a look later at the video or maybe meeting notes, and then they can come back to us if they cannot work on them. One is to change the design of the scheduler equivalence cache. Jonathan, aka Mr. Kit, and Harry, aka Resor, were supposed to work on it, and I assume they're still going to work on it and finish the design and implementation in 114. So it's going to be there. We are hoping that Klaus can have gang scheduling, an early version of gang scheduling in Cube batch in 114. Of course, he has already built a prototype, but we're hoping that he can have a better version and something closer to like production ready with the proposed API implementation in 114. Please stop me if you have any questions while I'm talking about these features. As you know, I have already sent a PR to add a couple of extension points to the scheduling framework. That PR can be managed now, and we are going to add more extension points to the scheduler in 114 as a part of the work on the scheduling framework. We had a plan to implement pod scheduling policies. The problem is that we have had a lot of discussions about how to design scheduling policies, and the policy team or our SIG auth people have had various opinion about that. So that work is still going on. We will see how we are going to proceed with that idea. But at the moment, I am not super optimistic that we can have something in the open source for 114. We will see how things go in that front. Since Klaus is here, before moving forward, I would like to hear from him about his plans about gang scheduling. Hi, Klaus. Could you tell?
Hi. Yeah, I'm back.
I know it's
sorry.
very early in the morning for you folks. I'm sorry about that.
I think that's fine. And I did some change, but I think I will put more time in community from now on.
So I know that you have changed employer. I don't know if your priorities have remained the same as before. So
yes.
Okay. So,
yes. I still keep my responsibility. Also similar scope as before. Batch in Kubernetes and gun scheduling, something like that. Still my top priority.
Okay, sounds great.
Yes, I will also put also keep my contribution in the community part. Yeah.
Nice. So since you are in Huawei now, and I know that Huawei has been working on Poseidon, which is the firmament scheduler, and so far we have seen pretty promising numbers for the benchmarks that those guys have released.
Yeah.
And one of the features that they are prioritizing is gang scheduling.
Yeah.
I don't know how much overlap we have between the two, but given that Poseidon is a completely different scheduler, probably it's not going to be easy for a lot of folks to completely switch to Poseidon at the moment, at least. And while it's still not maybe as robust as their default scheduler, you still probably want to pursue the idea of having a gang scheduling in default scheduler or as a part of the standard Kubernetes component. So it's important for us to continue this effort and move it forward.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So you think that you will have some, I know that you already have a prototype, but do you think you can get the prototype closer to production in 114?
Go to production.
Well, I didn't say that make it a production ready product, but it's getting it closer to production, maybe implementing some of the APIs that we discussed in the
yes, I think this is the scheduler part is almost there. I need to give more code coverage. I think this part is fine. I know some people already did some tests in their pre-product environment.
Right.
Yeah. Another, I think we also did have some discussion about the quota and the pod group controller. This part is not implemented yet, but I'd like to have them at least the pod group controller in pod 14. Yeah, the quota part maybe a little complex, so maybe next step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And maybe the GAN scheduling design document is not merged yet.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I ping Wish. Maybe you if you have time, or you can have time, have a talk with him. Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. My own opinion is that all of these design docs should remain as work in progress forever, pretty much. So even after they are merged, they should still be updated gradually as things change in the design. So generally, my opinion is that we cannot really wait for these designs to become like the best ever product.
Yes, I agree with that.
So we can measure it once it reaches to a point that we feel it's good enough as a starting point. And then keep improving those. And I think the proposal that you've written has reached to that point, from my point of view at least. And I think it's more or less ready for it to be measured. Maybe there are like a couple of small here and there to fix, but otherwise it's maybe we can arrange with Vish to see what he thinks, if he's okay.
Yes, I agree with that. We can get it merged firstly. If we have any improvement, or if we have any comments, we can update it. Or we maybe for pod group controller, maybe we have the other document for the detail.
Yes. I agree. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So we Ravi is not here today, if I'm not mistaken. So we've had this idea of moving the scheduler as a standard component of Kubernetes. I would like to hear his opinion about that. And then, Wei is here. Wei, I know that we didn't pursue the idea of supporting multiple pods for interpod affinity in 113 because we decided that 113 was more of a stability release. But in 114, we would like to pursue that feature. Do you think you had the time to work on it?
Yes, I should be able to finish it in 114.
Sounds great, thank you. We would also like to move pod limit priority function to beta. Ravi was working on it. We had to take it out in 113, sort of like last moment, because some of the tests were not ready, but hopefully we can have it in 114. I don't know about moving balanced number of attached volumes to beta. That is still not very clear because we have some performance concerns about that. We will see. Another item that we would like to have in 114 is having a backup mechanism for unschedulable pods. The idea here is that a pod that is being tried many times and it's unschedulable shouldn't, let's say that this is a high priority pod, this pod shouldn't go always to the head of the queue and block everything behind it. So we should have a backup mechanism so that this pod is backed off and is rescheduled with some delay if it turns out that it's unschedulable, if the scheduler has tried it a few times already. That's something that we're going to add. So another thing that we are also trying to do, this is also kind of similar and related to the idea of having a backup mechanism, and that's optimizing node status updates. So today, the scheduler retries all the unschedulable pods at every node update. This is needed, but the problem is that nodes send node updates for all heartbeats as well. So nodes send heartbeats every 10 seconds. Basically, scheduler receives a heartbeat which appears like a very much other node updates that may have more important information. So, for example, if a node has a new label, there is going to be a node update. If it has a new thing, there's going to be a new update. But sometimes node doesn't have any information, and this node update is simply just a heartbeat. We receive those heartbeats once every 10 seconds for each node. So you can imagine in a cluster with 1,000 nodes, we receive, by we, I mean the scheduler receives 100 node updates on average per second. And as a result, the scheduler keeps retrying unschedulable pods while there is no significant change in the cluster that could make these unschedulable pods schedulable. So what we are trying to do is to look at these node updates and find out whether these are actually changing something meaningful that could potentially make nodes feasible. And in that case, we try scheduling pods. Otherwise, we just don't want to retry those pods again and again. I have one item in my agenda to work on the scheduler performance. This is something that we would like to pursue for larger clusters. Scheduler performance in larger cluster isn't still that great. So right now in our scalability tests, scheduler throughput is about like 55 pods or so in 5,000 node clusters. We would like to improve that hopefully by another 20 to 30%. We will see how much we can get. I will be working on that in 114. I guess there is a repeated item here, if I'm not mistaken. So we talked about interpod affinity being supporting multiple pods. Yeah, so this is already discussed. I have to remove this item. Yeah, that's pretty much all the items that I wanted to talk about. We have another 10 minutes left in this meeting. Please raise questions, comments. If you have any problems to discuss, please go ahead.
Oh, I think there is a requirement about the resource bin packing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'm reviewing that pull request. I think maybe we'd better to get it ready in next release.
So
1.14.
Yeah. So
think,
we have a priority function for that already in the scheduler, right? Which is not enabled by default.
No, it's a new priority.
Okay. What does it do other than what we have already?
I think this is try to place the pod to the node which have the idle resource is similar to the pod request.
It said it has more resources than the pod request.
Idle resource.
Ideal. I see.
Yeah. If have the idle resource is similar to pod request,
okay,
or almost equal, it will have a high priority for.
I see. So yeah, we have sort of like by default we have worst fit sort of, and we have a priority for most used basically. Pick the node that has the highest amount of resource utilization of the pod there. I guess what you are talking about there is best fit, essentially.
Yeah.
Closest match. Okay. Yeah. You can have that too.
Yeah. Yes. I will add this item into the Excel list. Yeah. Google Doc.
So should I add it as an item to our plan?
Yes, I will add this to our plan.
So is this a proposal or a pull request? For
This is a pull request.
I mean, pull request for a proposal or a code change?
A code change.
Okay.
We also have a document here. I will append the related document to the to our plan list.
Sounds.
Okay. Klaus, do you know what is the GitHub ID of the owner?
How to say this one? Some people from intern.
Do you know their GitHub ID?
Yes, this one. A minute.
Let me use chat window. I can find it. Okay. While you're working on it, is there any other question or comments from other folks?
Bobby, I noticed you mentioned me on a long existing requirement that says maybe we can consider supporting max or minimum number of paths per topology. So it can be a candidate for next release. Not sure.
Okay.
What's your opinion?
Sure. For affinity and anti-affinity, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great. If you can work on it, that would be great. That certainly requires us to seriously consider possibility. I mean, seriously consider performance impact of such change. We don't want to introduce another feature that would cause a major slowdown in the scheduler. But that's certainly something that we should pursue if there is a possibility.
Yeah, I will. I will finish the support interpart affinity first.
Okay.
And yeah, maybe not that ideal for next release because this is for performance, and also in next release there will be I will take 1 month vacation because of the Chinese New Year.
Okay. Sorry, Highway. Do you mean the max pod per zone for the affinity or anti-affinity?
Yeah. I also saw you had a draft proposal a long time ago.
Yeah. This part, I think maybe we can talk with I think it's a Walkit -T. Someone gave a comment that we would like to have a more general solution instead of hard code max pod. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe we don't have that.
Anyway, we can have a detailed discussion later.
Yeah.
But yes, we used to have some discussion before, so maybe you can go through the thread to see what we have.
Yeah. So I believe we even had a PR, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe at the time we decided not to pursue that idea because interpart affinity and anti-affinity were about 1,000 times slower than other predicates.
Yeah. Yes.
We have improved their performance quite a bit, and they are now in the order of like 10 times slower, which is not super horrible, given that a lot of our predicates are really fast. So we can now, I guess, consider adding more features if they are not making it super slow again. So
Yes.
Yeah, sure. But that's a good point that Klaus brought up. Wei, please make sure to look at that PR that Klaus has made. I'm pretty sure that PR won't work anymore because we have made a lot of changes to the code.
Yes.
Part of the optimizations. So I'm pretty sure that PR is not going to work anymore, but it might be good to use some of the ideas at least.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. We used to have several discussions, and we collect them and adjust comments at least. Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
Is there any comments? Other comments?
So I was working on moving the event handlers as part of the cleanup. So I updated it with the what we wanted. So if you can take a look and see if it's in the right direction. I'm struggling a little bit on how to make the test pass. I think it might be something to do with how I might have made a mistake in the PR. So I want to put more effort as long as it's in the right direction. So if you can just say that, yeah, this looks in the right direction, I'll put some more effort over the weekend.
Okay. Okay, sure. I will try to take a look. I've been on vacation for about 10 days, and when I came back, I had like
no worries. Yeah, that's fine.
50 other things to follow up. Sorry about the fact that I haven't been very responsive to some of these.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm working right.
And Jonathan was also off this whole month. So
right.
I didn't have any help with any of these cleanup.
So I believe this will go in 114, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And one last question, this gang scheduling, is this going to be implemented as another predicate or something, or is it going to be something?
No, gang scheduling cannot be just a predicate. It's a lot more than that. So no, it's not going to be just another predicate. What we have at the moment, sort of like tentatively in mind, is to maybe have a different scheduler, or somehow come up with maybe a number of plugins for the current scheduler that supports gang scheduling as well. But it's not going to be just the predicates.
Got it. Okay, I'll read the docs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So is there any other question? We have 1 more minute left. If there is no more question, we can finish the meeting now. Thank you very much for attending. See some of you folks next week, and I'm looking forward also to meeting some of you folks in KubeCon if you're attending.
Yes, I'll be there.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.